Good morning. Welcome to the first edition of Amateur Art Appreciation at Eastern Oklahoma State College. I'm your host, Rhett Pursley. This week we have a very joyful, yet meaningful piece that we'll be looking into. Its name, you ask? Simply, Green Violinist. Created sometime between the years of 1923 and 1924, Green Violinist is a piece by Russian-French artist Marc Chagall. Take a moment to really study the artwork and how it makes you feel. As you can see, the focal point of the painting is of course the green man sawing on his violin, or fiddle. It's rather a strange sight to see if you ask me, but the unorthodox colors that are presented within the fiddler and his garb may represent a colorful personality he possesses, but also it could be a reflection of Chagall's style and the way he typically utilized many colors in his work. Growing up in a Belarusian Jewish community, there were many traditions that Marc Chagall was exposed to. In Chagall's very own autobiography, quaintly titled My Life, Chagall discussed his Jewish-influenced childhood and how it shaped him as an artist. One of those traditions that most likely inspired this painting was the fact that men would literally fiddle outside on the rooftops. This is actually a popular design of Chagall's in much of his work, and it really goes to show how his Jewish roots and how growing up in Russia impacted him so greatly. The violinist, or fiddler, depicted in the picture is of course very symbolic, with his unusual colors and his pant legs that appear to reinforce the fact that this man was found on the top of buildings, with the bricks on one leg and the windows on the other. Another interesting happening in the piece is all the extracurricular activities taking place in the background. Below, if you look very closely, there appears to be a boy sitting in his window, gazing up at the sky, next to what appears to be some sort of treehouse home in his backyard, with the bird perched at the very top. Next to that, looks like some sort of chapel. And then on the bottom left corner, there appears to be an animal, but I'm not real positive of what it might be. As you advance up the piece, there stands another fiddler, or violinist, to the left of the green violinist, and he looks to be performing some sort of trick with his instrument. The top left-hand corner is displaying a man sitting next to a house in a horse-drawn buggy strolling by. Perhaps my favorite part of the background is what I interpret to be a father figure, tossing a boy in the air, and the boy imagining that he's flying in the air. I have to imagine that these are all memories of Chagall's that he wished to portray in his work, all centered around what must have been one of his favorite memories growing up, the violinists and fiddlers that played on rooftops. It was believed in Chagall's culture that music and dance could bring you closer to God, and so fiddles were almost always present at all functions and festivities. It is also said that the Broadway musical and later motion picture Fiddler on the Roof is actually inspired partly by some of Chagall's art pieces and the nostalgic memory it evokes pertaining to this time period and this particular place. All in all, I am a very big fan of this piece of modern artwork. Unlike most traditional art, it has an abstract nature about it that allows the mind to really search for meaning and purpose within the work, yet I still think it is in the boundaries of believability. Sure, there probably weren't any actual green men playing music on the rooftops, but it's possible that Chagall pictured or chooses to remember them that way. Perhaps that's how he prefers to remember everything in his past, in a completely imaginative yet still realistic way. It's a beautiful idea if you ask me. I think if we all tried to view the world and our lives in a few different, possibly unusual colors, it could make our outlook on life and the world a little better. Whatever Chagall had in mind whenever he created the Green Violinist, I certainly appreciate it. And that's a wrap on another edition of AAA at EOSC. Remember, no matter how much of an amateur you might be, you can always appreciate art. I'm Rhett Pursley. Have a nice day.